Hey, I had to get that last sip down before I said good morning. But good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Breaks with Steve on this Saturday, May 22nd, 2021. May 22nd. May is almost over with, which means that we're getting close to the point where this year is almost halfway finished. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. On the one hand, it feels good to be back in a year where the year feels like it's moving. Do you remember at about this point last year, we were in that mode, in that realm with COVID and everything that was going on, where it really felt like it took a decade to get through March and April, right? I think by the time we got to May, it at least felt like there was some momentum, but it took a while. I'm on location. If you couldn't tell from the background, we're in Redding at my son Christopher's and his family's house this weekend, which means that at the end of the broadcast today, you get to see Nicholas. I know that a lot of you tune in just for that purpose and nothing else. And say hello to a few people here. I'm jumping all over the place, but I see that we have Kathy Garlick's there, Jerry Thompson, Jerry Zetterval, Kathy Glavin, hello. Corey Ann Woodard, Rick is on. Carol is here. Jay is here. Carla is here. People are tuning in. Shalane. Everybody's tuning in. That's a good thing. That's our Saturday morning together. Wouldn't it be great if we could all just get together in person around a big coffee table and do this? That may happen at some point. In fact, I'm going to share again at the end of today's show something that's coming up that maybe gives us a chance to do something similar to that. So because I'm not in my usual studio, I'm of course, holding the clipboard with stuff. That's the way it goes. I also, you know what I did when we came to Redding this time? I forgot to bring my Coffee Breaks with Steve mug. So I'm using a different mug today, which is fine too. I did ask Christopher if I could borrow his, but he refused. He's sitting over here with a Coffee Breaks with Steve mug and he's not sharing it. I am wearing a Coffee Breaks with Steve shirt, which I will let you see that I do have. I don't know if you can see it with the banner up, but I do have the logo on the shirt. So we've got that going for us today, but it's always a little bit weird when I'm outside of the normal element. Yeah, Mallory, you're right. He did refuse to share. That wasn't what I was going to share. It's where we're going. He refused to share his mug, but that's okay because it is his personal mug, and we're all very particular when it comes to our coffee mugs. Special days this week. Hey, did you know that today, May 22nd, I thought this one was very relevant for our show today. May 22nd is Buy a Musical Instrument Day. It's on a calendar someplace. Buy a Musical Instrument Day. So you could go out after you're done with the show today. You could go down to, are guitar centers still open? Or I know some of them closed like permanently during the pandemic. Find a store that sells instruments. Go get yourself like a nice Taylor guitar. Or you could go get yourself, if you need to, even down to Los Angeles or go to New York to Steinway Center and pick yourself up a nice concert grand and just cart that home today. There are probably some other instruments, some of which may be a little bit easier to carry around. If you want to go with a harmonica, go with a harmonica. That's fine. Anyway, I digress. Buy a Musical Instrument Day. If you do not already have all the instruments you want, buy one today. The 23rd, tomorrow, is World Turtle Day. It actually is. World Turtle Day, it's the day that we recognize and acknowledge turtles. It's a day to think about the turtles, especially those that are part of endangered species lists. And it's actually founded in the year 2000 by the American Tortoise Rescue Association. So it's legit. Now, what I think is interesting, coming away from one shelled creature to another, is that May 24th is National Escargot Day. So tomorrow, let's acknowledge the turtles. And then the day after that, let's eat some snail. And then the 25th is National Wine Day. And now in my mind, having been to France and had escargot in France, seems to me like it would be great to have a glass of wine with your escargot. But according to this, you should have the escargot one day and then have your wine the next. The bottom line is we do whatever we want to do. So some birthdays that I wanted to mention. We mentioned this last week. Remember last week, Ann Davis East was on talking about books, and I mentioned that her birthday was coming up. Ann's birthday is tomorrow. Ann's a regular on Coffee Breaks with Steve. She comes back to talk to us about opportunities to find good things to read. So happy birthday to Ann tomorrow. The 25th this coming week, is Nicholas's birthday. Nicholas, my grandson, who's going to be back here a little bit later. That's why we're up here in Reading this weekend, is because we get to celebrate have a birthday party today. And then the 26th, sorry, I'm glancing at comments here because there's some good stuff popping up here, and I'll say hello to some more people in a minute. Then the next day, the 26th, is Mallory's birthday. Mallory Glavin. Mallory's my daughter-in-law. That's Nick's mom. So Nicholas's birthday is the 25th, and his mom's birthday is the following day, which we've always thought was kind of cool. So yeah, it's a busy birthday. This is a busy birthday month for us because we've had Jameson's birthday was the beginning of this month, and then last weekend we were celebrating Remy's birthday, and then this weekend we're celebrating Nicholas's birthday. So we have like 3 of our 4 grandkids' birthdays are in the month of May. And it becomes a busy time for the grandparents when that happens. I saw some more people signed in here. I saw Kim Baker was on here. I don't know if I missed anybody. If I did not say hi to you yet, make a comment so I know you're here. And in fact, that's just a good reminder, is that you can say hi. And when we get into our topic here, make sure that you join the conversation. I want to get us into our topic today. I want to introduce our special guest, and it's someone who I've really been looking forward to. I've wanted to get him on this show for quite a while, and the timing just really worked out great. I want to tell you just for a moment about Derek Nelson, how I met Derek and his siblings, and why I really wanted him to be here today. And a couple of years ago, I was working at the Bankhead Theater in Livermore. And shortly after I started working there, this group came in, and I'd heard about what they were going to do. But there was this group of siblings, 3 siblings, who came in, and they spent an entire week, all day, doing workshops with a group of young people, a group of kids. I think it was like ages 10 to 17. And for 4 days, they worked with these kids to help these kids understand and release the talent in these kids to write, compose, and arrange original songs. And then on the 5th day, on that Friday, they worked Monday through Thursday. On Friday, they presented a showcase where these kids, some of whom had never had the opportunity to release that talent before, performed their music to an audience. And I was completely blown away. I kept sneaking downstairs to watch these little pockets of kids working with Derek and Dalton and Rihanna all week. And then they presented this showcase, and I saw how these kids were nurtured and encouraged throughout the week. And then that evening, Derek Nelson and family, Derek and his siblings, came back and presented a full-fledged concert to a full house. And once again, I was blown away. Now, the special thing about that was the first time we took Nicholas, our grandson, to a live concert. And we had been showing him, this is great, and I'm not sure that Derek even knows this story, but we had been showing Nicholas YouTube videos, primarily of Derek, because Nicholas's dad plays guitar and sings. We thought, well, he's going to love the fact that Derek plays the guitar and sings. He was totally engrossed with that. We get to the concert. Look, there's Derek. He's up there on the stage. He's playing the guitar. And we got done afterwards, and we were going to take Nicholas to meet Derek and his siblings. And we said, are you looking forward to meeting Derek? And Nicholas, not quite 4 years old at the time, I think, shook his head and he said, no, I want to meet Miss Rihanna. And I actually have a picture here that Nicholas keeps on his dresser. And there's some reflection from the light, so I'm not sure how well you can see this. But it's Nicholas posing with Derek and Dalton and Rihanna. But you notice who he's closest to in this picture. Yeah, it's Miss Rihanna. So what are you going to do? You know, it's boys will be boys. Anyway, let me tell you just a little bit about Derek as I bring him on here. Derek Nelson is a singer, songwriter, producer, and educator from Olympia, Washington. My old stomping grounds. I'm from Portland. He's garnered over 4 million views on YouTube, performed in 150 plus cities across the USA, and reached over 100,000 students of all ages with educational music workshops, outreach programming, and fundraising assemblies. He appeared regularly as the lead guitarist on television's Glee. His original songs can be heard on TV and in movies, and his singing voice has been featured on ABC's Modern Family, Fox's Raising Hope and New Girl, CBS's How I Met Your Mother, and NBC's Go On and The Voice. And yeah, some of you all of a sudden went, aha, I knew there was something familiar about that picture or the pictures you've been seeing this week because you were Glee fans and you remember Derek as the lead guitarist on Glee. Anyway, without further ado, I want to bring Derek on here. Bring Derek on here. And good morning, Derek Nelson. It's good to have you here.
Good morning, Stephen. Good morning to everyone watching out there. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Hey.
And, I'm looking forward to having my Saturday morning coffee with you. Cheers.
Here. Cheers. So, Derek, I do have to just take a moment up front and mention Glee because I know we've got Glee fans out there. You were on for several seasons on Glee. And I mean, lots of times you were in the background, but there were some times that you were kind of up front and very noticeable on that show.
Well, I know I got a lot of love on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
But the moments that I did make it into the, into featured segments of the episode were really special, especially for my friends and family watching back at home. It was always fun every week to see. We never knew what would end up making the cut, and
right.
Sometimes we do entire songs and spend 2 days filming these extensive segments that never made the episode. So it was always an adventure on that set. And it was really an incredible experience that I was honored to be a part of for over 4 years. I started the end of season 2, and I was on almost every episode until the show ended at the end of season 6.
Wow. That's in and of itself just an experience. And by the way, I should mention, when I presented Derek's bio, I just gave you a small portion of this. I posted the entire bio on the Coffee Breaks with Steve Facebook page, along with Derek's headshot. So I want you to go there after the show today, folks, and take a look at his credentials, take a look at his experience, because we're going to have a conversation about some things today that go beyond Glee. And it's important that you understand that Derek is not just some fly-by-night guy who likes to play the guitar and sing. This guy's got some chops, and I want you to really understand that. But I do have to ask you, I mentioned it up front with Nicholas and his experience meeting you at the Derek Nelson and family concert. How are Rihanna and Dalton doing?
They're doing well. I know it's going to warm their hearts to see that picture again, because that was so special meeting him that night. And I believe that was his first concert. Is that correct?
Very first live concert of any type. And he was totally engrossed in the whole thing.
Oh my gosh. Incredible. And I love his outfit. What a way to attend a live event.
Yeah.
We always talk about dress for the event. So he nailed it.
He nailed it. And the funny thing about that, Derek, was that he was just gonna wear the shirt and the pants. And he told his parents, because it was a special occasion, he said, I need a front of neck. And they were like, what's front of neck? They finally figured out that he was talking about he needed to wear a tie.
Yeah.
And to this day, that's an inside joke is, if you're gonna go dressed up, you got to have the front of neck.
You got to have the front of neck.
That's great.
I have front of neck today. But
yeah, we're casual today. We don't have to have that on. But I also have to ask you. You and your siblings toured for quite a while. Are you going to get back to touring after COVID? I know things shut down completely. What's the future of Derek Nelson and family?
I don't want this to take a dark turn. But it was a really difficult conversation for us in the coming months after the world shut down, right? And our entire industry, as you can imagine, being close to the arts and close to the live music world, was completely upended. And I'll be honest with you, Steve, it was really difficult for us, and we never came out publicly and made any sort of statement about what was happening with us, out of respect for so many other small businesses who had to close their doors forever, and people whose lives and health and families and businesses and careers were impacted and affected by what was happening in the world. We were one of those who unfortunately had to have the difficult conversation to close the chapter, and it was a lot more bitter than sweet. Because this was our dream. I have worked my whole life to have this goal and this dream of making my living as an independent musician on my own terms with my own vision, and to have the support of my siblings and the support of my family to be able to reach that dream where we are making our income touring and doing educational outreach programming and working with communities and partnering with venues like the Bankhead Theater in Livermore to provide really cool, engaging opportunities for creativity and confidence building in young people. And then not to mention being able to play music on stage together and have our own show, our own rig. We designed and produced our entire show, as I know because you've seen it. And there was a lot of outside the box creative thinking that went into crafting our dream career.
Yeah.
So to have to work hard and know that the hard work also opened a lot of doors for us. And I'll be the first to acknowledge that there was a lot of wonderful opportunities that came our way that I think is a result of putting the intention out there and having that strong vision and the dedication and the determination to go after what you want. But to have to watch that dream kind of come to an end and hit a ceiling, that was tough. I'll just be honest with you, we had a Midwest tour that was canceled or postponed. We had an international tour lined up through the States to Egypt and Eritrea. We already got our yellow fever and typhoid vaccinations. We were ready to go. And that was postponed or canceled. And even local gigs, every single thing on our calendar disappeared. And the earliest that we could get was a question mark about maybe 21, 22, 23.
Oh.
And for us as performers who are also trying to make their living doing this very cool, creative, non-traditional career, we just couldn't wait that long hanging on to a question mark, wondering when things are going to return. And our family and we have a lot in common in the fact that you and I are self-starters, right?
Right.
So we just had to have that tough conversation to say, look, guys, this is a question mark that we just can't hang on to right now, and it's time to close this chapter and pivot towards something else. So
yeah, well, I hope that you will pass along to both Rihanna and Dalton my personal hello and best wishes, and I'm going to continue to track what's going on with all of you, because there's a tremendous amount of talent and a tremendous amount of initiative and drive among all three of you, and I suspect that while one chapter closed, none of you are going to remain dormant for any length of time. And I wanted to pivot a little bit, because you are moving towards some new ideas. I mean, you mentioned already that you've done these workshops and you've done things all around the world. And during the pandemic, you shifted to some things that were virtual and online, but you've got a whole new thing that you're getting ready for now.
Yeah, this really opened my eyes to the possibilities and the reality that a lot of the in-person programming, like the program we did in Livermore that you were talking about, that was one of the first opportunities I had to work with young people in the capacity of songwriting and share my expertise and my passion for writing and creating music with other people. And it really opened my eyes to a passion and a gift that I previously had not explored, which is helping other people bring their music to life, and to see other people harness these ideas from nowhere and come up with this tap into a well of creativity was really exciting to me, and showed me something about myself. I guess I'll say it that way. And so I had always thought that was unique to being in person with someone, to be able to feel that connection and inspire that creativity. I always felt like we had to be in the same room. And so then when the pandemic hit, we had just come off a trip, an amazing experience to Ukraine. And we did a week-long incubator session, very similar to what we did in Livermore.
You posted videos from Ukraine. I remember seeing some videos online of you working with students there, past the language barriers and everything else. I'm sorry, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so that was the coolest part, was all of these students that we worked with, they spoke really well. They spoke great English, but they did have an interpreter there, and we did have to work through a lot of that language barrier. But every single one wrote their own song, start to finish, in English, and then performed it on stage. And so before the pandemic, I had attributed that to, well, that's only possible because we can be in the same room. And then once everything shut down and we moved to this entirely virtual space, being the determined creative mind that I am, I wanted a way to find out if there was a possibility of recreating that feeling and that experience online. So I started an online group called The Writing Tank, and it was actually named after the green room at the Bankhead Theater in Livermore, which the kids that we were working with, they deemed it the Writing Tank. I had a little slip up where I could, for some reason, I couldn't remember green room. So I said, "Come on, everyone, we're headed back to the Writing Tank," and then it stuck. And so from then on, I just thought that was a nice nod to like a judgment-free zone where you can hone in on your own creativity and generate these ideas. So the Writing Tank, an online group, and we met once a week, and it was open to anyone around the world who wanted to tune in. And I did these live songwriting sessions, and people contributed, and it really took off. We had over 100 members very quickly, and we wrote a song all together called "Dancing in the Living Room," right. Which was about the bright side of being shut down and being able to connect with people that you might have not necessarily had the opportunity to. And it was so successful that I realized there was a huge opportunity here to be able to share something very special and connect with people online. So I worked with the State Department to partner with the embassy, the U.S. Embassy in Switzerland and Liechtenstein at the end of last year, to do the full-fledged songwriting experience in another country completely online. And it was a huge success. And that really was a light bulb moment for me, that this is possible, and that I can help so many people out there in the world who want to make their own music and share their ideas and just might not know where to start or how to do it. Mm-hmm. So the fact that this is possible online gave me the green light to start production on my own online academy, which is called Songwriting Studio. It'll be the flagship program, Songwriting Studio, where I will be your mentor, your coach, and your producer. So any students who want, or musicians of all ages and of all abilities are welcome here at Songwriting Studio. It'll be launching next month. And it's a place where you can, on your own time, at your own pace, work with me directly to write your own song, learn my methods of songwriting, to unblock your hangups around music and around writing, conquer the blank page forever, and write your song start to finish, then work with me directly to record and produce your song. Not only that, it'll then be distributed on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere online where music is streamed and sold, so that you can start generating some passive income from the royalties that you'll be making from people listening to your music. So it really is a one-stop shop experience that I haven't seen anything else like it online. And I'm really excited to launch it, and I just want to make sure it's right. So I'm taking the extra time to really put all the pieces together to make sure that the software, the hardware, and the whole experience is the ultimate songwriting experience. So Songwriting Studio, that's my plug. I'm really excited about it, and all the information about that is on my website, DerekNelson.com. You can put your name and email there, and I will be the first to tell you about the latest update on the launch of Songwriting Studio.
And we've just probably seeing it. Oh, let's see, it's misspelled on at least one of these, but we're going to correct that. It's DERIKNELSON.com. It's going to be, you're going to see it in the banners. You're going to see it online. In fact, I'm going to make sure it drops into the banner right now.
Oh, perfect. There it is.
And so copy that down. That's by the way, if you go to Derek's website, which is here, you're not only going to be able to track what's going on with the start of this project and your opportunities to be a part of it, but you can see a lot of other information about Derek. I think even the albums that you have produced in the past, some of the videos and other things are available through there. So people who want to see what your performance characteristics are like, people who want to see what you have done in the past can get a good idea by going to your website. And I really want to encourage that. I think, and we're seeing some excitement here from people in the comments. I caught all of a sudden there was this perking up that took place when people began to to realize something like this is who are thinking about their own talents. And that's one of the things you and I talked about, Derek, is that there are some people who go, either they look at their kids and they go, well, they may be too young for me to begin nurturing that talent and that ability. Or there are some people who say, I'm too old to start something new, or possibly I did this in the past, but maybe I can't get back to it now. You know, you and I have talked about this, but I would like to hear your perspective on the idea that somebody may be too young, too old, too inexperienced, too far past a certain prime to be approaching this type of opportunity.
Yeah, these are common roadblocks, Steve, and I see them for what they are, which are excuses. It's the same thing. I don't really have enough time, or I don't think I'm good enough, or I think I'm scared people will not like it, or I'm scared I won't finish it. And what keeps coming to the surface is fear. And I want to encourage people to take chances. That's been one of my mantras since I started doing music, was commit to taking risks, putting yourself outside your comfort zone, because positive things happen when we're willing to take chances. So for people who feel like maybe they're too old or too young or not talented enough or don't have enough experience or who have never written a song or who don't play an instrument, I've got you. And all it takes is the willingness to put yourself out there and commit to knowing that taking this risk will create a positive impact on your life, that this might be the thing that you're waiting for to get started in music or to jumpstart your independent music career. And the last year has shown that there has never been a better time to create your own music because of how connected we are all over the world. So if you're looking for the right people who want to hear your voice, they're out there. I believe everyone has a voice. Everybody has something to say. And the world needs to hear your voice. So I saw your coffee mug today, Steve. Today is a good day too. My answer is today is a good day to go outside and do some self-reflection. For you out there, perhaps today is a good day to commit to your music career, whether that's a hobby, whether that's a passion, or whether that turns into your own independent music career. I am living proof that it's possible, and I want to help you get there. So today is a good day to go to my website and put an email in there to be the first to hear about the launch of Songwriting Studio. Steve, I want to hear from you. Today is a good day too?
Today is a fantastic day to do exactly what Derek just said and take a chance with your life. We all have a tendency. You know what you said really resonated with me, Derek, because I think about the fact that for the last year or so, we've all been forced into a situation where emotionally and mentally, it's been very easy to withdraw from taking chances, right?
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, I hear you talking about the things that you began to approach during this last year. And it was a big change of gear. I think about some of the sacrifices and the changes, but instead of simply giving up, your message, your example is think outside that box and begin to think of something new that you can take a chance with. Yeah. Because it's not about no longer taking chances. It's not about becoming isolated within our own cocoons. It's about saying, this door may be closed, but what doors now can I look at that may be open? Or I would go so far as to say this, which doors can I kick open if I need to, right? I mean, if it's like I see a door there, a door is not a roadblock. A door is an opportunity. You just have to figure out what the key is.
Exactly. We have to adapt. We have to be resilient. We have to be creative, compassionate, and courageous.
Man.
Stick to that own little voice inside you that says, there's something to this. I love music, or I want to say this, or but I just don't know how it's going to land or what people are going to think. You got to get through all of that and realize that the adaptation, the resiliency, the courage to put yourself out there is going to create such a positive impact on your life beyond just music. And I really believe in that. And I want to hear everyone's voice. I want to hear what people have to say. And that's always been my biggest takeaway from seeing these songs come to life from other writers that I've worked with and other musicians that I've worked with. It blows me away. Like you were saying, I mean, it's incredible to see from blank page to now this will be streaming single online that will live forever as a beautiful testament to somebody's creativity and courage. And I think that's such a special thing. And I'm really honored to be on the front lines of helping create that opportunity for other people.
I'm with you, Derek. And I want to thank you as well, because to a certain degree, you talking about this today is more or less your official public announcement that this is coming, right? I mean, I know you've been working on it, and I know there's still some pieces that are coming together, but this is the start of making it known to the world that they can take advantage of this.
That's right. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're honored. We're privileged to have you here. I'm going to encourage a couple of things. Number one, I didn't mention this earlier, but a lot of people tune in later. They don't necessarily get in here live, but they watch later on. If you are watching this recorded later, don't miss the opportunity to follow up on this. Don't miss the opportunity to share your own ideas in the chat. One of the things about Coffee Breaks with Steve is that this is also a place of community where we share ideas, where we share our own excitement about things. We share our own challenges, and other people can respond to those. So take advantage of that. I know we have some people out here who are on today, who are visiting. I think some of those are friends of Derek's who have tuned in today. I want to welcome you and thank you for being here. And Derek, most of all, I want to thank you for being with us today. I want to thank you for sharing not just your creativity and your ideas, but your encouragement and your call to action for people. I think that's extremely important. We all need sometimes that little spurring on, that little kick in the seat that says, don't back away from challenges. Let's face them head on. And you're just a person who really brings that. So, and Derek, I'm going to encourage you. I'm just going to say, feel free to go back in and look at some of these comments later on and respond to them. A lot of guests who come on Coffee Breaks with Steve, it's in the middle of talking, it's hard to track what people are saying in the comments, but you can come back in later on and connect with some of these people as well.
That would be amazing, because I'm in the studio interface with you, so I'm not seeing the comments.
You're not necessarily seeing comments at this point.
Without hijacking your show, if there's any questions for me or for Steve, I would love to take some time to do a few questions if there's people in the chat that have some.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. And Nicholas, I'm going to bring you in. Go ahead and come up here, because I want to make sure I'm going to put him on earphone here so he can hear Derek. And we said hello earlier, but do you want to say hello to Derek again?
Hi, Nicholas. How are you?
Hello. Good. How are you, Derek?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I love that picture of all of us with my sister and brother. Steve shared that earlier, and it was so cool to see that picture again. I loved your front of neck.
Oh,
Remember when you
thanks.
wore your front of neck for that concert? That was a cool night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's see if there are any questions coming up here.
Your concert.
What was that, Derek?
I said, are you into music, Nicholas? When do I get to come to your concert?
Oh, that's a good question. Are you going to do a concert sometime that Derek can come and get a picture with you when you do your music? You'd like to do karaoke singing.
I don't know.
I don't know. It'll happen someday. Maybe you're going to sign up for Derek's online studio and learn to write your own music and perform it. Would that be cool?
Really cool.
He's a little bit whelmed right now by the entire thing. That's funny. That is funny.
So we have
All right.
a question here from Shalane Marie Shepherd.
Yes.
When you teach kids, do they write in musical notation? No, the answer is no. I think that there is definitely a place for the written language of music being musical notation, but it often is a roadblock and an inhibitor of how fast we can get our ideas out. A lot of times I can sing something or play something or hear something in my head much more quickly than I can write it down. Almost like if you ask someone a question and then they're forced to hand write it out in a perfectly grammatical cursive notation, right?
Yeah.
It's much easier just to be able to sing or speak or play the ideas in our head. So I do encourage writing of lyrics, and there's a whole process that we go through of formulating the form and the series, the sequence of what makes up the song. But as far as musical notation, we don't go that deep into written music. I'm more focused on getting these songs out from the inner depths of your creativity as quickly as possible. And oftentimes having to learn music notation is just a roadblock that gets in the way, and it's not necessary. Some of my favorite musicians don't write or read music. So I really believe that music is felt and heard. And in that sense, I do want to, of course, honor and respect the fact that music notation is an incredible tool in the realm of music, but it's not necessary in order to create great music.
That's excellent. We have time for probably one more question online this morning. If somebody else has a question they'd like to ask Derek. And it doesn't look like any others are popping up here.
While we wait for one more great question from our viewers out there, Steve, what inspired you to begin this show? Because we're at episode 97, almost 100 episodes in, and that's a huge accomplishment, man. What inspired you, and what do you love about this experience?
Oh, see, that's interesting because typically nobody asks me that. What originally inspired me, interestingly enough, was at the time that I started this a couple of years ago, I was actually doing independent consulting. I was running my own business, and I was working with nonprofit organizations to help them. And I had an advisor, a media advisor, who told me, said, you need to be getting on Facebook Live like once a week and sharing. And so I began doing this show. Initially, Derek, it was going to be a way to reach clients and potential clients. And what I discovered from almost the first episode was that people were tuning in who were more friends, colleagues were tuning in, but they were more interested in just having this time to converse and to chat. And so it pretty quickly went away from being an advertising opportunity to being a community opportunity. And what has continued to inspire me as my circumstance has changed and as time has gone by is just this. It's the idea that while we may be separated geographically, while we may be separated even over these last few months, interesting because Coffee Breaks with Steve started well before, but while we may be separated due to a variety of circumstances, we can still come together as community, and we can still share a cup of coffee and just some time together, and it becomes family. So that's what inspires me. And you mentioned we're coming up on 100 episodes. In a few minutes before we sign off, I'll remind everybody that we have a special opportunity coming up with that 100th episode for someone who wants their name considered in a drawing to be drawn to be. Let's see if I can get the words out. To be a guest co-host on that 100th episode. So we'll do a reminder about that. But yeah, it's coming up on 100 episodes. It's exciting. I enjoy it because we get these kinds of opportunities, Derek. It's just great to connect with people. So thanks for asking that. Thank you again for being here. Oh, here's another question. When writing, do you typically hear the melody or the lyrics first?
Oh, this is a great question. And this Scott dives into my own songwriting method that I've come up with, which is a combination. It has to do with unlocking your inner voice and using a concept called free writing. And from that, you're able to extrapolate the feelings and the intention behind what the words are saying and match that to music. So from that, there's a process where the music and the lyrics coincide. And so that's often how it comes for me. And that's why I was excited to develop a more rigid process that can be taught to other people to unlock that same experience.
We're going to take one more question, but Nicholas wanted to go play, so he wanted to make sure he had a chance to say goodbye to Derek and goodbye to everybody else. So go ahead, Nicholas. Do you have your earplug plugged in there? You can go ahead and talk and tell everybody goodbye and say goodbye to Derek if you want.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. It's great to see you again.
Bye.
Okay, you can go play. He's sitting here going, okay, I think I did my bit. Do I need to stay? So this question from Kimberly Baker, can you see that up on the screen?
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
So this idea, synesthetic, I believe is how that's pronounced, where music, you're able to see different colors. And I think I am, because I do hear things and see certain color palettes when I'm playing or creating or producing something, and it's very. I'm fascinated to know the relationship in the brain of what's actually happening with that relationship. A lot of times, I refer to mixing music as painting with sound, because it's a canvas, a blank canvas that you're bringing different instruments and different colors in to this entire stereo spectrum. So you have this spatial field that's a canvas that you're using these different strokes of acoustic guitar, piano parts, horn things, drum accents, and you're filling up this canvas with sound. And so I do see it as painting. I almost like have a vision for the song in my head first, and I can hear it before it's ever finished.
Okay, I could keep you on here and just talk all morning, but I need to be sensitive to your time and to everybody's time. So I'm going to say, Derek Nelson, it's great to have you as a friend. It's great to have you as a colleague in this creativity space. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to be with us. And maybe once you get this up and running and you're starting to get some real movement on this, and we start to see some people actually online and starting to get their music out there, I'd love to have you come back and give us an update.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And if you're tuning in and just joining us, I'm Derek Nelson, and I would love to help you go from blank page to streaming single. If you dream of creating your own music and don't know where to start, I'd love to work with you. I'll be launching my songwriting studio program next month in June. And so if you want to be first to hear about that launch and what that experience entails and how it will help your life and your music career, now is the time to take the plunge. Go on over to my website, dereknelson.com, enter your name and email, and you'll be the first to hear about the details of Songwriting Studio.
All right. And I will tell you, we're going to continue to post information about that on the Coffee Breaks with Steve site so that you can continue to track. If there are people who come on my page later on, I want to send them over to what you're doing, Derek. So again, thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Show, Steve. A huge shout out to Steve for hosting. You're an amazing host, and this is such a special experience, and I'm honored to be here. So thanks to everyone tuning in, and thank you, Steve, for the opportunity.
Absolutely. It is absolutely my pleasure. All right. Wow. One of my favorite people, and one of the most exciting episodes I think that we've had for a while, right? You can sense the excitement. You can sense the excitement from Derek about what he's doing, and a lot of excitement from everybody else. I'm not going to take a lot more time. I was going to share the slide about the 100th episode. You know, it's out there, folks. You got just another week to go ahead and enter to have your name potentially drawn to co-host. And if you're reluctant to do that, think about what Derek said a little while ago about taking chances and risk. I know some people are going, do I really want to co-host? Do I really think I've got what it takes to have the conversation? I know most of you out there, and most of you have had that opportunity at times to just sit down with me, to just sit down across a room and have the conversation with me. And that's all we're going to be doing on that 100th episode. We're going to have a conversation. You're going to be part of a conversation. There's actually a topic that we're looking at for that day that you can be a part of. It's a pretty straightforward topic. And I'll just mention, we're going to talk about the movies that we saw as kids that influenced us, the ones that we sometimes may still go back and watch that we remember as adults were a big deal for us as kids. We're going to have a conversation on that 100th episode about those influential kids movies. So you can be a part of that conversation, and we'll have some time to plan. So please do not hold back. If you have not entered and sent your email to me yet saying that you would be interested in having your name in the hat to potentially be drawn to be a co-host, let me know that. Get that information out there. You see it up on the screen right now. And I'm also going to mention real quick a couple of shows that we have coming up. Next week, we're going to be on location again. We're actually going to be in Spokane, Washington, across the state from where Derek is right now. And we're going to be doing a kind of, I think, a fun and funny episode that's going to be called Coffee Breaks with Steve, the movie. And the deal there is going to be, if we were to make the movie Coffee Breaks with Steve, who would play you? Who would play me? And we're going to kind of make it fun. We're going to cast the movie Coffee Breaks with Steve from our own perspectives. And what would the plot be? What's the story arc for that movie? And we're going to have a little conversation about that. I think that'll be a kick. And then the week after that is actually my birthday, June 5th. And we're going to do a birthday episode. It's going to be a little bit different than normal. Instead of coming on through our normal channels to get to Facebook Live, we're going to use Zoom. We're still going to go live, but instead of just talking in the chat, you will have the opportunity to literally be part of the conversation. You can be on screen, you can chat, and you don't have to put on makeup, you don't have to dress up, you can wear your bathrobe and have your hair up in curlers, women too, for that one, but you'll hear more about that. And then on June 12th, of course, the 100th episode, June 19th is another really special one. We're calling that episode, Who Writes Your Story? And it's going to be about capturing those stories of our parents, our grandparents, and other members of our family who have a story to tell, but we sometimes don't catch them. And we're going to have on author Kathy LeGros, who's going to talk about how she captured the story of her grandmother, which is an amazing story, and ended up writing her book, The Waiting, that's about her grandmother's experience and how it created an entire new family history for all of them. So that's going to be on June 19th. So I just wanted to give you that heads up. Look, we've been on long today. We really have been on long, but it's been an amazing experience. I want to thank you all once again for being here. I want to thank Derek for being on today and remind you to make sure you go to his website. You'll see some more information on my page about that and opportunities to follow up on that and get more information. And I just want to tell you again what I tell you every single week, and it kind of goes along with what we've already been talking about today, and that is you have another week ahead of you here before the next time that we're together. Find a way to make a difference in your world this week. Thanks for being here. Have a great weekend. God bless you.